What it is, guys, it's your boy icjosh, and this episode of Dragon Ball Super was amazing. Now, we're going to talk about the couple of key little things that happened first, then we're going to get into the big stuff. So, the first thing that happened is that we see that there's a scene with Future Trunks, Mai, Pilaf, Shu, and Kid Trunks. And basically what's going on in this little part is that Pilaf and Shu are trying to get Future Trunks to kind of fall in love with Mai, because Mai is head over heels for Future Trunks. She still likes Kid Trunks, but we all know that she wants the here and now. We see that a lot of things is kind of going on this one, is that they have this whole little plan to where Shu is supposed to fall in front of Future Trunks and kind of like scrape his knee and all that stuff. And we see a little flashback from Mai whenever she sees this going on, is that Pilaf gave her a band-aid and was like, take this, you know, it'll come in handy at some point in time. Just like I said, just trust us on this one. So she takes out the band-aid and, you know, he's like, oh, I just need a band-aid. She comes in and it's like, here's a band-aid. And Future Trunks is kind of like, okay, well, you know, there you go. You know, there's your band-aid. And then Kid Trunks comes out of nowhere and kind of messes up the whole flow. And he's like, oh my God, Mai, I love, you know, this side of you and all this. And she kind of blushes because she's like, well, you know, I do like that. Because she basically was all about Kid Trunks before Future Trunks showed up. But that's not the case now, because we see that whenever she turns over and looks at Future Trunks, her whole head becomes red and she's all embarrassed and shy, slaps Pilaf and like runs off. And Trunks is like, the hell just happened here? And then Pilaf and Shu like, man, you are so dense. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's really not going to work out right now because, well, she's a kid, and for reasons that wouldn't work out. The next thing is that Trunks and Krillin are just talking. It's kind of funny to see how how Trunks is basically, you know, looking out, and Krillin is like, yeah, you know, Gohan's kid is pretty cute. And Trunks is like, oh yeah, she's super cute, man. Like they're a good family. Like he's happy. I'm happy for him. And then Krillin's like, you know, I got a kid myself. And Trunks is like, oh really? You know, who's the lucky wife? And that's when the comedy kind of sets in a little bit, and it's like, Trunks is kind of like trying to play it off. Like, you know what? It's okay, and it's hilarious to see Krillin sweating, and he's just like, you know, yeah, you know her, and I don't know how to say this, but and that's when 18 shows up, and she's got a Marin on her back, and Future Trunks flips out for a second. He starts grabbing his sword, and Krillin runs out. He's like, no, wait, no, you don't gotta kill her. Calm down. She sees him and kind of walks up to him, and she's like, I heard that you killed, you know, Future me in your time. And he's like, well, yeah, and this is hilarious because it's that subtle nod to Dragon Ball Z when she's like, you know, that's some compensation money that you owe me. And it's basically from, you know, world tournaments where she used to take dives from Hercule to keep his status up. That's hilarious right there. But he's like, well, and she kind of turns around, goes back to her family, goes back to Krillin and Marin, and he sees that, you know, they're, you know, a loving family, and he's like, you know what? It's working out in this, you know, timeline. Everything in the past is working out well for everybody, so I can't be mad at this. At least she's a good woman now, you know? So they go on from that. Now, this is when the big stuff goes on. This is kind of where it gets interesting, because Zamasu, we see where he's with his other Kaioshin, he's talking, and basically it's his master that he's talking to, and he's like, is there any way that, you know, or any reason that we really need, you know, to keep the humans around, because all they do is repeat the same cycle over and over, and it's tiring, and I would like to, you know, kind of get rid of them. And then that's when, you know, he puts him in his place, and he's like, look, that's not your business. Don't go there. Don't go down that route. We don't need you to do anything. You're not supposed to tamper or, you know, have any altercations with these humans that are there. That's none of your business. You know, move on. Just move on from it. We see that he is necessarily kind to everybody else except humans, and we see that Goku and Beerus and Whis are on their way there. They do arrive, and it's Goku coming on the scene, being basically a moron again. That's basically Goku's character, and you know he's like running around here trying to fight him. And what the interesting thing is that whenever they do fight, it looks like Goku goes Super Saiyan 2, and Zamasu's like kind of holding his own at the beginning. And I think that he where he's like, oh, these humans are weak and whatever, like he doesn't take Goku serious for a second until like one punch kind of almost gets through, and then he's like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna need to start, you know, doing a little something here. So in short, Goku does, you know, overtake him basically, and he wins the little scrimmage fight that they have, and it almost sends Zamasu into a frenzy of rage, because we see that he puts his hand back up and he's just like, you know what, I'm about to go for it. And then his master's kind of like, look, calm your ass down, you got beat, you got shut the fuck up, take a seat. You know, he's not necessarily happy about it, because at first I thought that after we see that Whis and Beerus and everybody sees these time rings are still in order and they're all there, nothing's been taken away, nothing's been tampered with, and it's kind of like, yeah, this ain't looking good. Like, this looks like this is not him. But we see that while they leave, you know, even Goku is kind of like, yeah, his key's similar, but it's not exactly, you know, it's not exactly Black's. But he's like, I don't see any harm in him. But, you know, Beerus is sitting there like, you're too trusting. You can't be that trusting. Like, this is him. We know, even Whis even says it. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Zamasu's Black. So, and we even get the basically the certification, like the stamp on the head that it is him, because we see that once the episode's about to end, he's kind of looking down after he's making his tea and stuff. He's like, yeah, he's like, I didn't know that humans were this strong, which technically Goku isn't a human. I mean, they even say he's a Saiyan, but it's just because he's like, at first thrown off, he's like, Saiyan? What? Saiyans? What? You're living on Earth and you're a Saiyan? You know, but basically Goku likes to say himself as a, you know, Earthling, a Saiyan Earthling, whatever. But we see that he basically says that humans are, you know, they're too strong and basically they're too destructive. And we see that he wants to get rid of the humans. So basically that's the stamp that Zamasu is Black, and that's it for that. Now, for this episode, like I said, it was really, really good. And I'm gonna go ahead and give this 8 out of 10, just for the simple fact that it is really good, and I really did enjoy it. There was all times I was looking at this, even whenever we've seen the whole Mai stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good episode. I like this. A lot of loose ends are tied up. We see that Trunks is kind of like, well, Future Trunks is kind of, you know, clued into everything now, what's going on in the past, like all the stuff that he didn't know that Android 18 was kind of like walking around here. I still don't think he knows about Goten. I don't think. If he does, then but I don't know. I can't remember, but I don't think he does know about it. But definitely for this episode, like I said, it's an 8 out of 10. But next week's preview, this is when it gets good in next week's preview, because we see that Vegeta is training Trunks. Now, two things is going to come out of this. I can already make the comparison right now that this is probably going to be on the same level of Goku and Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber, to where, you know, Gohan was kind of like, hey, stop treating me like a little kid and stop treating like I'm a handicap, you know, actually train me. So Goku goes Super Saiyan, you know, does the Super Kamehameha at him, he goes Super Saiyan. Now, for this with Trunks and Vegeta, I feel like it's going to be around the same level, but not like where it's a blast. We see that Vegeta goes Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan in front of him, so lets him know that there is another level higher up than what he is. We see that, you know, he found out about Super Saiyan 3, and now he's finding about Super Saiyan Gods. So I'm hoping that basically what it is Vegeta's going to train him to become a Super Saiyan God, because that would be really the only explanation that we would be able to get whenever Trunks goes back to the future, is that he goes back a Super Saiyan God, and he has that God ore, and he just basically like fucks Zamasu or Black up in the future. That's what I would like to see, because that's like really the only thing that I see now coming out of this. Because whenever he fights him, it's either going to be like it's going to be a struggle, and then he's going to end up winning, or he's going to go ahead and go in and just whoop that ass like right off the bat. Because I mean, last time it happened, he went back to the future and just, you know, killed every threat there was. So that's how I see this going down. I'm really excited for next week's episode, just being able to see that take place, that Vegeta and Future Trunks like moment where it's like, yes, I'm your father, but I'm going to be your mentor right now, something that I was never to you, you know, in the past. Because the last time we trained, I trained by myself, you trained by yourself, but you watched me train. So that's what I'm glad to see about. I'm glad to see Vegeta's character growing, because like I said, I am a Vegeta fanboy, and you know, Team Vegeta over Team Goku right there. So yeah guys, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this week's episode, if you're hyped for next week's episode. And also smack a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, share the video out, let's get the channel growing, and have an awesome day. I tend to forget to say that at times, but I'm out guys. Peace.
I got to thinking, I seen a lot of stuff, people were tweeting me, and I hit
You just take a look at all